welcome to Oz Talk. Today we are going to be checking out some of the latest and greatest Wizard of Oz merch, Ozzy merch, associated merchandise. And we're also going to be celebrating what would be the 100th birthday of one special Judy Garland by honoring Liza Minnelli and Lorna Luft, her daughters. Plus, we're going to be chiming in on our thoughts of the classic Journey Back to Oz. I'd like to remind everyone that this show is brought to you by the Oz Club. Since 1957, the International Wizard of Oz Club has been bringing fans together. Head on over to ozclub.org to join right now. Do it right now, right? Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Hello.
Good. Nice to see everyone. So everybody's been talking about, I'm sure you all have either already picked up as I have, or been getting emails and messages from friends about, hey, I just saw this at Target. What did you get, Tori?
So there is a brand new board game out from Target. And Target has actually been focusing a lot on board games lately. They did a whole series of vintage board games from the 80s and 90s that a lot of us had in our childhood. Seems like they're trying to strike that nostalgia chord pretty hard. And they also released this licensed Wizard of Oz board game. Now, it's kind of an adventure type game from what I understand. I haven't opened my brand new copy yet. I'm going to have to get a second one so I can actually play it. But from what I understand, the gameplay can be a little complicated. But can we just take a look at that artwork? Raise your hand, Oztalkians, if you would like to see an animated series with this artwork, because it's stunning.
It reminds me so much of the Deke at the end, right before they all start dancing together. Like, yes, that's what it looks
save
like.
The wizard.
That's what I thought this entire time, and I'm hoping Targets in my area haven't gotten it yet, so I'm hoping that here shortly I will be able to pick up my own copy. But I'll initially open it.
I estimated. I'm not the same type of collector that Tori is, so I opened it. There is this book inside. Here, I'll go large so you can see this book inside. So if you read along the book, but it's this hard board book, and each board page is a story with game board play. And so as you go throughout the story, you move the pieces. Here are all the pieces that are really great. I love how the colors make sense. That Glinda's pink, the Wicked Witch is green, Dorothy's blue, the Scarecrow yellow. You've got an orange for Lion and silver for Tin Man, or gray. There are lots of different card decks. I haven't opened up the bags yet, but I see like a Lullaby League Girl, a Winged Monkey, some Ruby Slippers, some other little like tokens that must be a part of the play. So I haven't read it, but I definitely picked it all up, and it looks like it's a lot of fun, and it's for 1 to 4 players. So, it's perfect for me. I can play by myself like everything else.
But I really just wanted to highlight as well the box art and the detail they went into with this for collectors. If you're somebody like me who won't open something out of the box, just the display caliber of something like this is really spectacular. They obviously went that extra mile to make it look great on the shelf, which I really appreciate.
Zoe, do you have it or?
I do, and I'm even one step above crazy collector than Tori, because mine's not even out of the Target bag yet. I'm in the process of reorganizing my Oz room, which is why I'm in a different corner today. The rest is all torn apart. And so I didn't want it to get damaged or get dusty, so it's still wrapped in the Target bag on the table. But I do plan to actually go back and buy a second one so that I can open it, because I'm that person. I buy 2, one to keep closed and one to play with, but I wanted to get at least one before they were all gone.
I totally get that. Who else does that where, if it's at the right price point, you'll buy one to collect and keep closed and then another to open? Have we all done that?
If it's the right price point, or especially on something like this where it's at Target, I'm likely to receive one later as a gift, and then that gets to stay in the box.
Well, and Garrett, speaking to the fact that your Target didn't have them, they were not originally available online, but they are now available online for purchase at Target.com. So might want to keep that in mind, Oz fans.
Will do.
We got a nice good morning from Alan Schillingberg. Good morning, Alan. Thanks for watching. Glad to see you here. Next, let's discuss the Mina Lima edition of the book. Who can show us that? Garrett.
Me playing Vanna White over here. So this came out right before Christmas, just about last year. It's the latest in the Mina Lima Classics editions, which are all absolutely fantastic. And what's so cool about these is they have the full original text. with brand new illustrations. So, you know, you get some nice new illustrations, but they're also interactive. And it's a little hard to show this in this sort of a capacity, but there's about 12 or so of these pages where you sort of open it up. Like I said, this is not the easiest to show.
It's like interactive.
But it's interactive. It pops up. So that one, which had the tornado, opens up to give you the map.
Wow.
Or my personal favorite, which is also probably the most, next to the 87 animated series, the most violent representation of the melting of the Wicked Witch. You have the witch who starts here, and then you can flip it down, and oh look, you've got melted witch puddle going down a drain, and the cool stylized golden cap. So it's really fun. It also comes with a pair of emerald glasses for when you're in the Emerald City that you can pull out. And if you're looking at this going, why does this sort of style look familiar? Mina Lima are also the people who designed the Daily Prophet and lots of the Harry Potter Wizarding World merchandise and sort of that style. So it's very much kind of in that same style as well. They've done, I want to say this is like the 7th or 8th in this grouping of children's classics, and they've all been a lot of fun. I have, I think, most of them, and I highly recommend them.
Very cool. Anybody else have it?
Yes, and mine's upstairs. But one of the other really great things about it is if you order it through the Mina Lima website, you can get it signed. So my copy is actually signed by the artist. Super special. I am somebody who loves when the artists sign their books. It's so special. Really adds to that. And I agree, the style of this particular one was so unique, and they really talk about going the extra mile. They did not cheap out on these pages. They were really
and they're all, like I said, it's consistent across the series that they've done. So I was excited that they did Oz, and it's a terrific, really cool new addition, and kind of gives it a new fresh face 122 years later.
Zoe, did you bring anything new to show today?
You know, I didn't. I haven't been buying a lot, unfortunately. There's not a lot that's caught my eye other than the game, which has already been shown.
One of the new things I picked up recently was this Ashton Drake winged monkey doll, and look how big it is. You can see its scale next to me. So I knew I was going to get it right away just because it came with this, and I'm on a Toto streak right now, and I really love the Toto in the basket. It's also super big, you know. But I have it positioned up high on top of something because it all kind of like leans looking down it a bit, which has been the way for me to display it. But I just was really overwhelmed by the size. It's really nice quality though. And if you like the winged monkey or that Toto figure, it's cute. The eyes are terrific. I
like the detail on that, though the proportions do seem a bit off with Choco's basket compared to the monkey. Those ratios seem a bit skewed.
Yes. So that's one of my recent purchases. Anything else, Tori? Did you have anything else? Oh, has anyone bought? Angelo Thomas wants to know: has anybody bought the new Oz bobbleheads from Royal Bubbles? I haven't even seen them.
I've seen them. They're kind of cool because they have interlocking bases. And I know they've got Dorothy and the Witch. I don't know if they're planning more or less. I'm not a real big bobblehead fan. The heads kind of freak me out.
Yeah, there is a Tin Man.
There's a Tin Man, okay.
I think they're release all of them. My concern was they were selling out so fast. If you miss one, then the base, you won't have the complete base. So I kind of want to sit back and wait and get the whole set secondhand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with Garrett. I'm not a fan of bobbleheads. They just kind of creep me out a little bit.
They unnerve me.
Wow. Okay, is this it?
Yes.
Huh, I haven't seen these.
It's actually it's a surprisingly good likeness of Judy. If the head was proportional, I would be more okay with it.
Wow, I like how they come on like a little bit of a set. Yeah, those are the interlocking bases, I guess. It tells a story, perhaps. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen others than this. I didn't know about these, but it looks like they're about $40 a piece. Very cool. They're not to be confused with the Noble Collection 4-character set, the bendable dolls figures.
which are also really cool, although Dorothy is weirdly pale.
Oh, yes.
Very, yeah.
Yes.
I actually
That's-
just got her. Would you like to
that's-
see her in person? I
Sure.
just got her.
I have them in the other room, but yeah, she does look like a ghost.
Yeah,
Hi,
that's
Angela.
it.
By the way, we want to have you on the show sometime.
Yeah, what's
Um,
up with this? Who did this?
They did like my skin tone if I was Dorothy.
Yes, yes.
Which is why I'm the witch, because it's a great canvas for green. But
And
gosh,
just look at her eyes. She
Yeah.
looks so angry. She's like, "Come at me, bruh."
No, Zoe, you do look like you were the lead makeup artist on the Twilight film series.
I say, actually, you look
thank you.
fabulous
Thank
today.
you.
Like,
You
Okay.
sparkle in the sun, Chloe.
Is that a
Chloe,
backhanded compliment? What is that?
Right, yes, exactly. You're
I'd
that
like to highlight one more book while we're here.
Yes.
So I just came across this one the other day while walking around with the gals from Down the Yellow Brick Pod, and this one's called Fairy Tale Land, and it's illustrated by Lucille Clerc. And what's great about this one and really unique is that it features a Black Dorothy. And
Oh,
this is not something you see a lot in Oz adaptations, though I'm not sure why, because the only physical descriptor we get of Dorothy is that she's an orphan and a little girl. We don't get any further just like physical descriptors. I think there's a mention of her braids and of her little pink bonnet, but it's just really refreshing to see an
Nice.
adaptation like this. And it's obviously a condensed text. It's not L. Frank Baum's full text, but it's really beautifully done. And I would love to see some more representation like this in the future.
Oh,
So definitely check this
up.
out if you can.
Where'd you
Yeah,
find
I like how the other characters look MGM influenced, but they went with a diverse and inclusive Dorothy, which is fantastic. I like the cover too, because you can kind of find Oz throughout. Like it's kind of like a Where's Waldo for Wizard of Oz.
Yes, and look, they I think they must have gotten in trouble because the witch was green on the cover, but she's purple on the inside, and she looks very Margaret Hamilton-esque. So I think they must have had perhaps a slap on the wrist from our good friends at Warner Brothers. But yes, and on the inside cover as well, see if you can find the Emerald City. It's kind of a Where's Waldo of all the fairy tale lands. And I love it. It's just spectacular. And talk about like I saw this from across a room. I was like, "Ooh, what is that?"
Brian just asked, do any of the canon Oz books ever state Dorothy as blonde?
Nope, there's never a physical description given to, and I don't think there's even one given to Ozma. I think the only real characters that get a physical description are Glinda, because it talks about her red hair and her blue eyes.
So was that must have been a John Arneal choice to depict Dorothy as blonde?
Yeah, he based, if I understand it, he based Dorothy on, I believe, a niece, or I believe it was his niece. And so I'm assuming that she was blonde, and that's why he chose to go with blonde. Baum really stayed away from physical descriptors unless they were necessary to the plot. I think the only person who we really ever get a hair color description other than Glinda is Ozma, which changes because we're told she has ruby hair, or I think ruddy hair is what they say in Marvelous Land, meaning like a red blonde, but then she's brunette everywhere else.
And Brian just said, interesting. He kind of took it for granted that she might have been blonde, but a testament to how influential art is. That's true, Brian Cherry. Thanks for watching and participating today. I wonder, and wouldn't it have been so fun to have been able to be a part of the publishing team and see if there was any discussion, or if John would go to L. Frank and be like, "Hey, I'm going to make her blonde in this. You know, what do you think? Let's talk about you."
It's fairly documented that Baum and Neal didn't really discuss very much, and when they did, it seemed somewhat contentious. Baum was not a huge fan of Neal's art, or I say that I'm putting words into Baum's mouth, and he, 100 years later can't defend himself. But it seems like maybe they did not have the partnership that he and Dinslow had had.
And again, he and Dinslow had falling out, so
Yeah. So I don't necessarily think that there was any sort of John going, "Hey, what do you think about making Dorothy blonde?" I think it was, "Hey, I've been assigned this book. Here's some illustrations. Enjoy."
Yeah, I think John just kind of did what John was going to do. I mean, that's why Toto is suddenly a French bulldog in Road to Oz, and stays a French bulldog in Emerald City, but then by Patchwork Girl is back to being some form of terrier.
Oh God, we just got a really great compliment from Nicholas that says our show is the bomb.
Oh, thank you, Nicholas.
And Baum himself would love
Thanks,
that
Nicholas.
pun.
Yes, he would. Mom would love that pun.
So I'm going to be like a waiter and ask Zoe a question while she's consuming beverage,
Yes.
giving you enough time to swallow. Tell us about what you're up to this evening.
Tonight, I am going to see royalty, is the best way I can put it. A princess, daughter of the divine queen. I am seeing Lorna Luft live in concert, and I am like losing my mind because I have wanted to see her in concert since I was like 7. I didn't even know she was Judy Garland's daughter then. I just saw her in Grease 2 and fell in love. And now tonight I get to go see her. And I mean, with Judy having passed so long before I was born, this is the closest I'm ever going to get to seeing Judy perform live, to see Lorna or Liza. And I'm so excited, and like I'm jittering. Like I've been thinking about it all day. I'm drinking coffee, but Liza, Lorna. I almost said Liza. Don't say that in front of
So
Lorna.
true. I think that Lorna stylistically and tonally sounds a lot more like her mother than Liza does. Liza sort of found her own, niche as an artist, but Lorna really, I feel like, just is the audio image. No, the audio impact, same as the passion storyteller and tone as Judy. Do you agree?
Oh, yes. I was actually listening to some of her music today while I was doing my makeup, getting ready for the show. And I had to stop for a second. Wait, did Spotify just put on a Judy song? Because she does have that. She especially sounds like Judy later on when Judy was in her concert series. That's not a word. In her concert series, when she was, the vibrato was a little bit more pronounced, a nice soft tone. And I'm going to cry because I'm going to hear her and I'm going to hear Judy. I'm going to hear Judy singing through her. And it's going to be waterproof mascara is my friend today. That's what I'm going to say.
It's fantastic. Where are you seeing her? Is it part of a concert series? Do you know what she's going to be performing?
So it is at Vincennes University in Vincennes, Indiana. It's part of, I actually found out about it because my mother's an alumni from that university. So it's something that the Alumni Center is doing. They're bringing in singers for this concert series that they're doing. But it's part of Lorna's tour where she is singing from the American Songbook. So she's singing some of her favorites, the standards. So I'm hoping that there'll be some Harold Arlen in there. Fingers crossed that maybe Rainbow happens. So I'm sitting over here.
That would be amazing. I know that Lorna and Liza both kind of go on the record not singing Oz songs. I wanted to share a fantastic memory that I have. I interviewed Lorna twice. Once on the red carpet at the 70th anniversary of The Wizard of Oz. And I attended the release party at Tavern on the Green. This was back in 2009. And they had set up a Yellow Brick Road. There were a bunch of Dorothys. You entered Tavern on the Green. This is right before Tavern on the Green closed. And by the way, Tavern on the Green was managed by Mervyn LeRoy's granddaughter. And then they also had the national touring cast. There's Lorna with the national touring cast of The Wizard of Oz. And I did get a chance to talk with her. That's Lorna's son, AKA Judy Garland's really sexy grandson. And, several of the Munchkins were there. Some of our friends were all there. And I was thrilled to get to chat with Jerry Marin on the red carpet there. Ashanti also showed up to perform Over the Rainbow that night. She, of course, did a couple different Dorothys, and Lorna performed, and I've looked everywhere, but they've never released the medley that she performed that night of The Wizard of Oz. However, I did record it myself, and I just didn't know if maybe you guys would like to see a clip of Lorna singing The Wizard of Oz medley.
Yes,
Come
please.
on, if you don't play it, you're gonna have a problem.
Anyone else wait to see in the comments? She's a grandma again. Where was Tavern on the Green? Tavern on the Green was in the middle of Central Park in New York City. So yes, as far as it goes, I do want to share with you that clip of Lorna performing. But before that, I thought, why not share with you my red carpet interviews? Now, in context, at the time, I got access to this event to cover it as press for a company I was working for hosting called MoxieQ. And MoxieQ is sort of ahead of its time. MoxieQ was a digital influencers platform where they hired gay male tastemakers to work for and help straight female women. So the tagline was a gay for every girl. We were your gay best friend that you could hire virtually for style tips or advice or to chit chat or that kind of thing. And we were influencers before social media really created what influencers actually are. It didn't become a great, very successful thing, but I was the first gay host on Moxie Q. And so you'll hear us, and I just wanted to put it in that context of that, because this part of the interview with Lorna, I do ask her about her mother being a gay icon. And so just to explain why I go in that direction with this interview as a little quick setup before playing it. So these are those interviews.
Hey, we're Ryan and Caroline on Moxie Q, and we just had the time of our lives on the red carpet in celebration of the 70th anniversary of The Wizard of Oz.
There was a huge party here in New York City at Tavern on the Green, which is, of course, a legendary restaurant, and the Green, of course, worked very well with
for the
theme.
Emerald Gala. And we caught up with Lorna Luft,
Judy Garland's daughter.
Your mom obviously sang so many incredibly iconic songs, but no one can touch Over the Rainbow. Why is that?
Because it was perfect, and because she understood that lyric better, I think, than anyone. Because it was very simple, and it was beautiful, beautiful rendition that has now become iconic.
And she was really like one of the first big gay icons at a time when a lot of us weren't even out of the closet yet. Do you think she knew that? Did she have a lot of gay friends?
You know something? It was the 1960s. Okay? So you've got to remember that it was way before Stonewall and all of that. But she didn't see anyone as any different. She taught us all that we are all one human being. And that's what she taught me, and that's how I feel.
We also talked to Ashanti, who played Dorothy in the revival of The Wiz.
And also in The Muppets Wizard of Oz. Is it Dorothy that you really connect with?
Absolutely. Me and Dorothy have a lot of parallels.
Which incarnation of Dorothy do you relate to the most?
I would say a combination of them all. You know, we all have our own similarities, and it's all about just learning your journey, learning to become strong and having confidence and taking that knowledge and applying it.
But the highlight was talking to Jerry Marin, who was actually one of the Lollipop Guild Munchkins. So exciting.
There were 124 Munchkins, but you were one of the Lollipop Guilds. Can we hear a lick of it?
We represent the Lollipop Guild. The Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild, and in the name of the Lollipop Guild, we wish to welcome you to Munchkin Land.
I feel like I'm doing a shameless commercial, but the Blu-ray edition of The Wizard of Oz is really amazing.
Ryan, by the by, biggest fan ever.
We're Ryan and Caroline on Moxie Q.
There's no place like Homo.
Okay,
tagline.
It's a sign of the times. Our normal tagline was, we're Ryan and Caroline on Moxie Q, a gay for every girl. But this time I was like, let's make it Ozified. So that's how we did it. And please forgive me, universe, but that was then. That was very 2009. And for me, you can imagine, that was a night where I went to bed thinking, I can die now. I got to chat with Lorna and Ashanti, and of course Jerry Marin, who I
got really emotional hearing Jerry's voice and hearing Lorna talk about her mom. It's just, and the 70th anniversary, I feel like, was the last great anniversary where we got fantastic events. I really hope that as we round up to the 85th and 90th anniversaries, that Warner Brothers will step up their game. I felt like the 80th was really disappointing, but the 70th, they pulled out all the stops that year, and it was really memorable, from that event to the event where Netflix screened it in Central Park with that great concert.
But I would argue that the 75th rivaled it with what they did at Grauman's Chinese Theater. I again covered as press. Zoe was there as a special guest who was brought to, I was covering the carpet. Zoe walked the red carpet with her Spirit of Oz cast and actually got to get into the VIP party and see all the areas that I couldn't even get access to as press. Zoe, do you want to share a little bit about that memory?
That was an amazing event. Now, I do want to say, I really wish that they had gotten Lorna and Liza to come out to that, but, I digress. They're busy women. They're being superstars all around the world. It was a phenomenal event. So as Ryan said, it was at Grauman's Chinese Theater, which is where the movie originally debuted in 1939. So to be in this historic place, walking the same floor, like the same grounds as Judy and the rest of the cast did in 1939, it was so overwhelming. And I'm trying not to, I was trying not to cry in full Scarecrow makeup. That was a fun little thing. But they had this great event. It was a VIP party in the ballroom. They had a lot of local celebrities there. We got to hang out with the kids from Modern Family. Entertainment Tonight was there. We were on that program. I met Kevin Sorbo, Hercules. There's a great picture of Glinda with Mario Lopez because his little girl was so afraid of the characters that she was crying, but she really wanted to see Glinda. So there's this cute picture of like Glinda holding her hand, and it was an amazing event. And they had great snacks, great gifts. They were giving everyone swag bags with the big 75th anniversary box set and a 75th anniversary Barbie in it. So, there's a swag bag that's like $200. Like, how did you go to a party where they do that?
But now going back to the 70th, it was really fun, this party that they had. And I didn't even know that they did a screening. I was, of course, living in New York at the time, didn't know they did that screening in Central Park. But thankfully, Tori, you did attend and you put video of it. And I got to enjoy it through you, as we often do, because you have it on your YouTube Ozvlog. Tell us about that experience.
It was really special. I, of course, went in full Dorothy gear and had a blast. There was this moment where the moon came out while Judy was singing Over the Rainbow. And because of the reflection of the light at that time of night, a rainbow formed around the moon. And this whole sea of people were weeping and just looking up and being like, it was such a spiritual, as strange as that sounds, it was such a spiritual event. Watching it with other people in public, for me, is one of my favorite ways to enjoy The Wizard of Oz. And that concert that they had beforehand with Jennifer Hudson and Julianne Hough and Questlove and the Roots and all of these big names it was such an amazing night. And I will never forget it as long as I live.
I want to add, like Tori said, watching it with a crowd is something you'll never experience at home. You can watch it 1,000 times and it's wonderful at home, but with a crowd, you get this sense of community. You're all there admiring it together. At the 75th, when Leo the Lion came up and roared, and there was that first orchestral big Glinda bum bum bum, the crowd went wild. And seeing it with an audience, you realize this is a really funny movie. Like, you see the movie so much that you kind of forget that it's a comedy. You enjoy it, you smile, but I never laugh nearly as much as I do when you're in a crowd. And, Ray Bolger says the Some People Without Brains do an awful lot of talking. Or, and what? The crowd just starts cackling, and it's great.
Low-key, I was in my 20s before I got the oil can what joke. I'd never seen the movie in a crowd before, and it was at I think it was the 3D reissue. And suddenly, like, they say it and it laughed, and I went, oh, that never occurred to me.
That took me forever. I think, sometimes when you see things for the first time as a child and then you just live with it, you don't have that experience of changing over and, figuring out what certain layers mean. You sometimes have to have it explained or experience it that way. Same reaction. Alan's just saying he had the same reaction seeing it in 3D. Well, Zoe and I, when we were there at the 75th, that was the premiere of the 3D version in the largest IMAX screen in the world at the time at Grauman's Chinese Theater, and that was magnificent, seeing it in 3D in the largest screen in the world. So where it also premiered in 1939. But getting back now, just to move forward to the 70th anniversary at Tavern on the Green, I'd like to share with you. I have the full clip, the full medley. I edited it down just to a short medley here of Lorna singing songs from The Wizard of Oz. But again, this was 2009, and forgive that phones and cameras were not then what they are today. So here you go.
Okay, if that didn't get you jazzed to go see her tonight, so
Yeah.
oh my gosh, who else has goosebumps?
Just be totally aware that if I text you all at like midnight saying I need bail, it's because I was caught in her limo trying to hide out and be like, oh my God, Lorna, I love you. And she probably would freak out and call the police. So just
I would bail you out for that.
I would too.
and like that medley, that's where you could really hear how much she sounds like her mother when she gets into those jazzy swing numbers, especially Out of the Woods. Like if you ever wanted to know what it sounded like if Judy herself had sang that song, I think that's a
Like,
good indicator.
I really want a redo of the 90s Oz in concert with Lorna as Glinda now.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yes. And her phrasing on night, like that vibrato, and then bringing her hand up, like, oh my gosh, she was like, ah!
Yeah, the whole like movement to the band and then the audience. I'm like, that's Judy. It's her mother is speaking through her.
Well, and that at the end when she raised the hand up to Mama. Yeah.
Okay, guys, Garrett, we need your idea. We need Oz in concert again, Lorna as Glinda, Liza as the witch. Because she would just be so much fun. The two of them going head to head. And then we could have her sing Jitterbug.
Yeah.
Be so good. So good.
And it's Barbarella is Dorothy.
Well, I do have, if anyone's interested, I do have the full medley. It's about 5 minutes long where she sings all the songs and can share that with you. I also have Ashanti performing Over the Rainbow from that night, the Munchkins doing a Q&A, and I also have the tour, the national tour performing If I Only Had a Brain, the Dorothy and Scarecrow, which is really, really cute. So I do have that all in that same bad 2009 phone quality. But let's next talk about Lorna's sister, Judy's other Garda. Garda? I just had a stroke.
Irish for police? What?
Yeah. I just turned into John Travolta. With, I'm creating my own language. Garda means daughter, apparently. So Liza Minnelli sang Over the Rainbow when she was 13. This clip is very rare. It's courtesy of the Judy Garland Experience. Let's look at a bit of that. Wow. Kind of a melancholy performance there of the song at such a young age. And of course, just a couple of years later, Liza went on to perform Dorothy in a new production of Journey Back to Oz, which was an animated feature film released to theaters. It was produced in 1962, but they lost funding and were not able to finish it, this filmation company, until the next decade. It was finally released in theaters in 1972 in the UK, 1974 here in the US. It starred Britney Spears as Dorothy and Madonna as Mombi the Wicked Witch and Justin Timberlake as the Scarecrow.
Or, Liza and Risa Stevens and Ethel Merman.
Yeah, thank you.
And a whole bunch of other people who are no longer with us.
Can't forget Margaret Hamilton, of all people, was in it, but not even as a witch, as Aunt Em.
Yes.
And
thank you all for laughing, by the way. That's my joke for today.
So technically, I guess this is the 50th anniversary of Journey Back to Oz this year. So
I guess it depends on where you live.
Yes.
Okay, wait. Let's go one at a time here. I'm going to start with Zoe because she's showing us. This is the official movie poster. This is what it looks like full size. It is so ungodly, speakably large. Zoe's going to show you as much as she can fit into the screen.
Yeah, it's huge, and mine is mounted on foam core. I don't know if that was original. I think that might have been an alteration. So fun fact about my particular copy, mine comes from the Yellow Brick Road gift shop and museum in Chesterton. This was Jean Nelson, the founder of the Ozfest. This was her personal copy that was in the museum and stayed in the museum until it closed. And I was lucky enough. The woman who owned the museum when it closed, Marilyn Zengler, was so sweet, was able to let me have some of these beautiful treasures that were Jean Nelson. So aside from being just a cool, beautiful piece of art, it has that link to my Oz history and Oz Festival history as a whole. So I'm so proud to have it. It's one of my prides in my collection.
Very cool. Tori, what do you have to show us?
Well, first, I want to respond to the comment we just got about this being merely Judy worship and that no one has read books like Visitors from Oz. Hello? No.
Nice.
We're coming to play with real Oz historians here. Yes, we have read Visitors from Oz.
Yeah, do you want me to go get my first edition of Wonderful Wizard?
Yeah, so
Excuse me. I have 300 Oz books.
This particular episode, hello, Jenny. This particular episode is very Judy heavy, but we cover all of Oz. So come back for more if you want to hear about more historical Oz stuff. But getting back to Journey Back to Oz. So for my collection so far, I do have the album with all of the songs and all of the lyrics on the back. This one was actually released a bit later. No, this one came out in 1980. With all of the songs on it. And I don't know about you guys, for me, there aren't tons of memorable songs in this movie. I think everything Liza does is perfect, and you gotta love Ethel Merman. But the rest of the songs for me kind of fall flat in terms of Oz music. We have so much to choose from. But my favorite things in my collection are my animated cells. We've got here the lion, who I believe was portrayed by Milton Berle, who was a very popular comedian. And then here, the Tin Man, all very afraid of the giant green elephants that Mombi is sending their way.
Yes, and the Tin Man was Danny Thomas. That's so great. Garrett, what do you have to show us?
Well, it's Danny Thomas by way of Larry Storch.
Correct.
Because apparently Danny Thomas is... I did a whole lot of reading this week because I had the time. Apparently, Danny Thomas's audio tracks weren't usable except for the song. So Larry Storch did a Danny Thomas impression, and nobody told Danny Thomas.
What? I had no idea.
Danny Thomas, which is great, thinking he had played the Tin Man in this movie when really he had only sung it. Inadvertently, I apparently have a lot of Journey Back to Oz stuff. I don't know why, because I didn't ever set out to get that much. But of course, there's the VHS tape that I think a lot of us grew up with that came out around 89, because it specifically says on there, it's been 50 years since Dorothy landed in Oz. Now she's about to make a journey back to Oz.
Nice. Do you have this other one? There was a second VHS tape.
I don't have that one. There's actually a third one that predates the one that I've got. I do have the lovely, very, very 90s, including her triangle earrings and all its deliciousness and 80s makeup doll and video cassette tape.
It's so interesting that they did an MGM attired Dorothy
with red shoes, and there's no magic shoes in this one at all. And then, of course, the two different DVD releases. Although, admittedly, the second one was picked up primarily for Happily Ever After because of Carol Channing. But the DVD release is great. It's difficult as heck to find now, but it's fantastic. It's got all sorts of great little special features. It's got the wraparounds from the TV broadcasts with a famous comedian as the Wizard. But then there's also this weird little number. It's a Japanese LP, a rare original cast album with Peter Lawford as the Scarecrow, who was replaced midway through because they didn't think he sounded very American. But it has two songs that are not in the film. It has Keep a Gloomy Thought for Ethel Merman. So Mombi had another song that got cut. And it's got... no, I take it back. It's only got one cut song, but it does have Peter Lawford singing B-R-A-N-E, which does not spell brain. I don't know how it spells, but it's not brain.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird little like, and it's definitely not a legitimate release. It even says on here, this has been pressed and distributed on a limited non-commercial basis. But it's from Japan. The entire back is basically in Japanese.
Wow.
And I think it's interesting that the title they used was The Return to Oz.
Return to Oz, yeah. And this is, I don't even know how old it is. I think I looked and couldn't find an actual year on it for when it was
I bet it coincides closely to Disney's release of Return to Oz.
I would assume so. And the nice thing too is it says, because he's the only one who doesn't sing, and Paul Lynde.
And Paul Lynde.
And, I mean, that's kind of his career. And
yeah, and Paul Lynde.
But speaking of Paul Lynde, Jack Pumpkinhead in this show is one of my favorites, and my favorite song is "Keep a Happy Thought," as Tori can testify, because I make her sing it all the time. And I have a moment in the movie. I wish Toto was in it as well, but that's my "Keep a Happy Thought" animation cell. And then I also got this. I don't know if it was limited or not. I mean, everything's limited. There's only so much of anything. But I have this promotional animation cell that came mounted and framed this way, which is basically the poster art, but it is a hand-painted animation cell. And in the corner of, oh my God, so how am I ruining light today? But we've got Dorothy here and Toto here on the
so cute.
So that's a really cute piece, I thought, that I was glad to have.
And you know, it's a fun movie. It's held up much better than I really thought when I sat down to watch it this week, that I was going to have my childhood destroyed, because I loved this so much. And it actually is. It's held up very well. The animation is really very good. It's the first animated film with an all-star cast like this. My only two real complaints are they do the shaky cam thing when the green elephants are storming the Emerald City, and it makes me super motion sick. Like, I had to look away during that. And I don't like, and this is an adaptational thing, I don't like that the Tin Man and the Lion are like, nope, we're not helping. Green elephants, you say? No, thank you. You're on your own, Dorothy.
In my opinion, it ruins the movie, because otherwise it's a very cute story, but they are so out of character that for me, it totally removed me from the story, because they would never say to Dorothy, good luck, you're on your own. That is just, in any book and any other version, you would never see that happen. And it's so far removed from what the characters are really like, that for me,
the spirit of those characters. I'll say I was so young. I mean, it was released here in 1974. That's the year I was born. And so when it started airing on television between 1976 and 84, and I must have seen some of those very early broadcasts. So at a very young age, I probably saw it very shortly after having seen and fallen in love with the actual MGM Wizard of Oz. And so, you know, at that young age, you're not as discerning. I've obviously grown into now a professional entertainment critic, so judge things very differently. Don't hold my review of Legends of Oz, Dorothy's Return against me. However, I loved Journey Back to Oz, and I still watch it now as an adult and still enjoy a lot of things about it. It's also unfair, if you haven't seen it, to see it today as an adult for the first time in the context of movies like Frozen and Encanto, where animated musicals are what they are today, you know? So in the context of, it's an Oz story that's original, that's not true necessarily to the spirit, as Tori pointed out, to the who these characters are as Baum wrote them, but just as its own entertainment and a way to escape to Oz once again, and to hear Liza's performance as Dorothy. Interesting about that too, we all know she wanted to re-record it. There was that 10-year period of when it was recorded in 1962 and it was released in 72. Her voice had changed and matured so much, she went back to the producers and director and wanted to re-record her songs and vocal track, and they said, no, we love your raw innocence and your youthful sound, so they kept her original recordings.
I'm glad they did that. I think it served the character well. I think her youth, and plus when she recorded it, her mother was alive when it was released. Her mother was not. I think that would have flavored the tone in a way that, you know, would have been very subconscious, but I'm glad they kept this.
I feel like by 72, 74, post Oscar, Liza's always had sort of a knowing aspect. Like she just seems always skews a little older, skews a little more mature. And I think that would have filtered into Dorothy, and it would have been a very odd wide-eyed animated character with a too mature sounding voice, and it wouldn't have worked as well. And and I had a blast rewatching it. It was it was a fun little trip. Like I said, it's held up very well. I actually like most of the songs pretty well. Merman's are great. Liza is great. I actually really like Risa Stevens.
Woodenhead, come on, Woodenhead Stallion.
And I still think that when we eventually are able to do it, that we should do like an Oz Club Presents Journey Back to Oz and do like a staged concert.
That would be so fun. Zoe, who would you be?
Well, as much as I want to say Mombi, I know Garrett will fight me for it. So I will happily do the Mickey Rooney Scarecrow role.
I think Tori should be Dorothy. Can I be Jack?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Garrett, who did you want to be?
Oh, Mombi. Hands down, Mombi.
Perfect.
Of course I'm going to be Ethel
Garrett
Merman.
is a way better Ethel Merman than I could ever hope to
You
be.
guys, but you are like perfect for that, considering everything I've ever heard you do, actually. But I love how we all get along, but we are all such different types that none of us wanted the same role. So I'm kind of thrilled for that right now. That's really fun. So Zoe, just to have you weigh in, because several of our live viewers are just wondering if you think it's worth a watch. We've all weighed in that we all enjoy it, but you obviously are a collector, but do you enjoy it? Do you recommend that people who haven't seen it watch it?
I'm usually the Simon Cowell here. I'm usually the harshest critic, but I will say of the Oz films coming out in that time period, it was the standout. I think it's great. Like Tori said, it could have been better if the characters actually behaved like the characters. They're kind of like Thompson's version of the characters in Royal Book when Tin Man's like, Scarecrow's missing. Sorry about you. I got to go over here now. But the songs are fun. It's well animated. It's well acted. It's Liza before she was Liza, is how I would put it. She, like Garrett said, if she had re-recorded it, she would have been very knowing. But here she's very innocent, very young, very wide-eyed, and full of whimsy, and I love it. Like I said, it really stands out when you compare it to what else came out in that time period. We had the 1964 animated Return to Oz, which
has weird similarities to it too.
It does, but it's kind of a hot mess as far as animation and voicing goes. Like that Wicked Witch, it's clearly a man that smoked 7 packs of cigarettes before.
Yes.
And then also, just a few years before it was released, we also had The Wonderful Land of Oz, which is one of the hottest messes in Oz history.
Yes.
So,
well, I think we might have gotten ourselves into a little something here. So whether or not it's live and all together, we may have to even just do it somehow on Oz Talk, because our friend and guest co-host Christopher Castano said, OMG, Garrett as Mombi would be iconic. Chris Silva said, now I want to hear Garrett as Ethel as Mombi.
Can we get a bite-sized bit of this, Garrett? Could you?
I'm saying, Garrett,
this is like no prep.
Can you right now give us a little, if you're gonna be a witch?
If you're gonna be a witch, be a witch, not a mamby-pamby witch. Be a witch.
Oh, it's so good. Bravo. So now we know what we're going to do on an upcoming episode when we have nothing else planned. Okay.
We just need an episode of Witch Talk where we all play one Oz witch and converse with each other. So we could have Garrett as Mombi. I can do the Margaret Hamilton witch.
There's some magic happening here right now.
Yes, now streaming on Spotify.
Ryan, you can borrow my Theodora costume if we do.
Oh yes, I would do that. I would honor that.
We'll have to get you a good chest plate because it's a very busty costume. It's very low cut.
Yes, that's true. I may have a ruby ring, so there you go. No, this has been really, really great. If we don't have any other questions right now from our viewers, this has been our show for today. And yeah, so we all recommend Journey Back to Oz. We're all enjoying some of the new Oz merch. Feel free to leave us comments and let us know what you'd like us to discuss, show it, or share in upcoming episodes of Oz Talk. And we're always happy that you can watch us live and participate. This has been really fun doing the show this way. And in an upcoming episode 2, we're going to share with you about the Oz Club's upcoming national convention. Zoe and Tori, I think, are attending this year, right?
Hoping to.
I'm going to come kidnap you. I will get a rental car, come from the Buffalo airport, throw you in a potato sack, and drive you off.
And take her off to the school for bad girls, where she'll never eat candy or ice cream again.
Toto and I are trying to see if we can swing it as well, but we'll have more information about that. If you'd like information about it right now, obviously go to ozclub.org, which is the way to join the Oz Club. Speaking of which, get it? Which? Zoe, tell everybody about how they can and why they should join the Oz Club.
Well, if you've enjoyed our conversation today and you are one of those people out there who like things beyond Judy worship, then the Oz Club is definitely for you. We have a lot of wonderful perks, including virtual events, live events like the National Convention coming up in August, as well as our publication, The Baum Bugle, which is a journal about everything Oz and everything L. Frank Baum, published 3 times a year. So if those perks aren't enough, we've also got an online community where you can come in. We've got message boards. You can chat with your fellow Oz fans. You can take a sorting quiz and find out what part of the land of Oz you might live in if you're an Ozian. And do you really need more? I don't think you do. So visit ozclub.org and sign up. If you are going for an adult basic membership, those start at just $30, but there's several levels with more perks above it if you're interested in that. And youth are only $15. So get the whole family signed up.